Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into a topic many of you have asked about, getting a work visa for Switzerland in 2026. Is it possible? What's the process? Let's break it all down. The short answer is yes, Switzerland will be issuing work visas in 2026. But, and this is a big but, it's not a simple process, especially if you're not from an EU or EFTA country. Switzerland has one of the strictest immigration systems in the world, prioritizing its local workforce. So, if you're dreaming of those alpine views, you need to be strategic. The entire system is employer-driven. This is the most crucial point to understand. You cannot just apply for a work visa on your own. A Swiss employer must sponsor you, and they have to do the heavy lifting. They are the ones who initiate the application process with the local cantonal authorities. So, who qualifies? Switzerland is looking for the best of the best. They prioritize highly qualified individuals. This typically means you're a manager, a specialist, or a highly skilled professional in your field. A university degree is almost always a requirement, along with significant professional experience that makes you stand out. Now, let's talk about the biggest hurdle, the labor market test. Before a Swiss company can hire you, a non-EU EFTA national, they must prove to the government that they could find a suitable candidate within Switzerland or the entire EU or EFTA bloc. This is a rigorous process where they have to advertise the job and genuinely search for local talent first. They need to provide evidence of their recruitment efforts and explain why you are the only person who can fill that role. Your employment must also serve the economic interests of Switzerland, meaning your skills contribute something valuable that is currently in short supply. Another critical factor to consider is the quota system. Switzerland sets strict annual limits on the number of work permits available for third country nationals. For 2026, the quotas are expected to remain consistent with previous years, which means around 8,500 permits in total for both long-term B permits and short-term L permits. These are split between different categories, and they run out fast. This makes the timing of your application incredibly important. Once the quotas for the year are filled, no more permits can be issued until the next year. Let's quickly look at the types of permits you'll encounter. The two main ones for non-EU workers are the L permit and the B permit. The L permit is a short-stay permit, usually granted for contracts up to 1 year. It's often used for temporary projects or specific short-term assignments. The B permit is a residence permit, intended for longer-term employment. This is the one most people aim for, as it offers more stability and can eventually lead to permanent residency. Getting a B permit is more difficult and is typically reserved for those highly sought-after specialists I mentioned earlier. So, what does the process look like from start to finish? First, you need to secure a job offer. This is your ticket to even begin the process. Once you have a signed contract, your new employer will gather all the necessary documents, your CV, diplomas, work references, and a detailed job description, and submit the application to the cantonal migration office in the region where you will be working. The cantonal authorities will then review the application. They'll check if it meets the labor market requirements, if your qualifications are sufficient, and if there are still permits available under the quota. This step can take several weeks or even a few months. If the canton approves the application, it then gets forwarded to the federal level, to the State Secretariat for Migration, or SEM, for a final decision. Only after you receive the final approval from the Swiss authorities can you apply for your entry visa. You will take the approval letter to the Swiss embassy or consulate in your home country to get the visa stamped in your passport, which allows you to travel to Switzerland. Once you arrive, you will need to register with your local residence registration office to receive your actual permit card. It's a multi-step process that requires a lot of patience. Now, what if you're an EU or EFTA citizen? The situation is much simpler for you, thanks to the agreement on the free movement of persons. You have the right to come to Switzerland to look for work and can start your job without needing a prior work permit. However, if you plan to stay for longer than 3 months, you will need to register and get a residence permit. For longer-term assignments, there are some specific rules and even some limited quotas for posted workers from certain EU countries, so it's always good to check the latest regulations. And for our viewers from the UK, things changed after Brexit. UK nationals are now treated as third country nationals, but with a special arrangement. Switzerland has set separate, specific quotas for British citizens looking to work in the country. For 2026, these separate quotas will likely continue, giving UK nationals their own pool of permits to draw from, separate from the main third country quota. However, the requirement for employer sponsorship and being highly qualified still applies. So, how can you increase your chances of success? First, focus on in-demand sectors. Switzerland has a significant shortage of skilled workers in certain fields. The top ones are information technology, think software developers, cybersecurity experts, and data scientists. Engineering is another big one, especially in mechanical, electrical, and chemical engineering. The healthcare sector is also constantly looking for qualified professionals, including doctors and specialized nurses. If your skills fall into these categories, your chances are immediately higher. Second, your job search needs to be strategic. Your primary goal is to find an employer willing to go through this complex and expensive sponsorship process for you. Multinational corporations with offices in Switzerland are often your best bet, as they have experience with international hiring and dedicated HR departments to handle the paperwork. Tailor your resume to highlight the specific, high-level skills that Swiss companies are looking for. And finally, be prepared. Start gathering your documents early. Get certified translations of your university degrees and transcripts if they are in one of Switzerland's national languages or English. Collect detailed reference letters from previous employers that clearly outline your responsibilities and achievements. The more organized you are, the smoother the process will be for your future employer. To recap, getting a work visa for Switzerland in 2026 is challenging but definitely not impossible for highly qualified professionals in high-demand fields. The key is securing a job with a sponsoring employer who can prove your unique value to the Swiss economy. The process is long and requires navigating strict quotas and labor market tests, but with the right strategy and a bit of luck, that Swiss dream can become a reality. I hope this detailed guide was helpful. If you have any more questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below. We do our best to answer as many as we can. Don't forget to like this video if you found it useful, and subscribe to the channel for more content on living and working abroad. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.